Greetings, Marcus.
Why was that such a computer voice?
Well, I didn't want to start with "Hey, Marcus," so I figured.
I honestly was like, wait, was that a computer?
Nope, that was me.
That's what you were gonna start with?
No, I was just trying to change that up because you complain all the time.
Oh, okay, all right. Did you have something to start, or did you want to?
Greetings, Marcus.
Hello, Joseph.
How are you today?
I'm good.
I've got a neat story to tell you about something I was watching on TV the other day.
Oh yeah, is it
Yeah,
a true story?
it is absolutely a true story.
Okay, so let's hear this absolutely true story.
So, both of us, for all the listeners, all the 13 to 26 varying listeners, Marcus and I both enjoy music. The other day, I was watching I guess we'll call it a symphony, just a recorded symphony on the TV. It's really really big. It was awesome, and I my daughter Madison, she was, we don't usually have her watch TV, but since it was music, I figured pretty cool. She's playing, she can watch it. But then I just noticed like the part of the string section and the brass section were just like messing around and like not too good. But there was also, I think like the notes weren't like in sync, and I feel like everyone was off key, and yeah, so it was just I figured it had a lot to do with there being like an abundance of those sections of that symphony. And it just goes to show that you really shouldn't let your kids watch symphonies on TV because there's too much sax and violins.
You and your based on a true stories. Too much sax.
Well, I think that might be my best one yet. But anyway, welcome to the Disaster Project. We're going to totally ignore that cringeworthy music joke.
I noticed we don't say that often.
I know.
Welcome to the Disaster Project with Joe and Marcus. We should add it to the intro. Maybe.
This is the intro. What are you talking about?
No, like the intro song where it's like, Joe and Marcus.
If you want like an operatic, I can.
A what?
An operatic version, like that.
Maybe.
I'm sorry for everyone listening with headphones.
Well, just auto-tune it. just add auto-tune to that part. I have auto-tune somewhere.
Same.
But yeah, so talking about symphonies. Now, are you ready for the worst transition ever?
Yeah.
No, you texted me that you've honestly been wanting to talk about this for like weeks since like the first episode.
Yeah, you were talking about art class in college, right?
No, I wasn't, but I guess I'll start with that. It's just a funny story. I kind of want to talk about music first.
Okay, yeah, we could talk about music.
All right. So, you know what's funny? So you texted me, you wanted to talk about the Green Day new stuff, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yes, I said yes.
Oh, I thought you were like, no. And then I would have just cut it right there and we would have never talked about it.
Yeah. That's the end of the episode.
But so when you said like, oh, I want to talk about the Green Day album with you, I was like, yeah, I should check it out before we like record or talk about it. And then
it really depends. I'll let you continue before I
No, I'll just say I never did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even look at Green Day. I totally forgot. I walked away from that conversation and was like, I'm going to listen to literally anything else. No, and I just totally forgot and listened to, I don't know, Blank 182 or something.
Blank, yeah. That's fair.
So did they come out with a new album? Was that what you wanted to talk about?
There is a 2020 album. I didn't really want to talk about that. So, well, it's a good album. It's different, but um,
It's different.
it's different.
That means it's
Believe
not a good album. No.
believe you me, it is different. But so as far as your Green Day experience goes, like, what's your backgrounds?
I usually listen to it like when I come around, or or sometimes I'll have it wake me up as an alarm, like when September ends.
Oh man.
you know.
I really wasn't bravo, man.
I mean, I really like them. People said that I was a basket case for liking them so much.
I knew you were gonna hit me with a third one.
But yeah,
Okay, enough with the puns. I can't tell what we're. Oh man.
yeah, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. No,
These
I just
jokes,
wanted a third of.
these jokes are dookie.
I think, yeah. That's all I got. That's
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I walk a lonely road. Um. So yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I felt like I listened to Green Day a lot in high school, and then maybe a year or two ago, I was like, man, I haven't listened to Green Day in a very long time, and I went back and listened to them, and I was like, I don't think I like them as much as I thought I did.
It
But I felt
depends
like,
on what you listen to, because I felt the same. I had the same experience last year too, and then since we've been in quarantine, I was just like, okay, let me just like try, because I think everyone has the same experience with Green Day. That isn't, or most of the people I've spoken with at least.
uh-huh.
Like, where they knew their old stuff, they loved their old stuff in high school, or like before, like when they were younger, and then kind of it dropped off after, I think it was like the 2005 album,
Yeah, it
2004
was.
American Idiot,
What was the
which
one
was
after that?
a 21st Century Breakdown.
Yeah, that's the one everyone hated.
So yeah, that is fact. But
Uh-huh.
okay, so bear with me here, because this is going to be a really weird journey. So after American Idiot, pretty much once they had that Broadway show, I was like, okay, I'm done with these guys, and that was it. That was
But they weren't
whatever.
in the Broadway show, were they?
Billy Joe did play in the Broadway show at times,
Wow,
the
that's so
lead singer.
self-centered. But
But that was like the stand. He was the stand-in for the actual actor if he couldn't do it.
yeah, that's like, oh, I guess he's dead. So I wouldn't say that's like Freddie Mercury being in the like Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Yeah,
But that would be
that's
amazing.
like Eminem being in 8 Mile.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. I didn't think about that with 8 Mile.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so like so as growing up, my mom played. I don't think she really ever played me like kid songs or lullabies. I just grew up on like pop punk and metal and
Yeah,
goth music, and
goth music.
like
I can't.
crazy.
I can't picture your mom listening to My Chemical Romance.
That's not goth music. I'm talking
What
about
do you-
I'm talking about like The Cure, not like
Okay. That's
yeah.
old school goth music.
Yeah, no, it was the 90s.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It wasn't the 2000s.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, like I listened to like their Nimrod album, Dookie, whatever. Like I listened to Green Day and Blink-182 and pretty much anything from that era, like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
ska and stuff. But yeah, so like Blink-182 and Green Day always stuck with me, as you know. Like we've gone to Blink concerts before.
yeah,
And yeah, so like I didn't really care for it after American Idiot, because it was just like, okay, now you're kind of getting away from like the punky stuff,
yeah.
like
And
you're
focusing
getting.
on like the recycling and Green Day and stuff. I'm serious because they're all about like saving the earth.
Oh, okay,
You didn't
that's
watch their Simpsons episode?
I didn't. I
Oh
don't
no,
watch
they were in
them.
the movie. They were in the Simpsons movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
continue, sorry.
um, but so yeah, I kind of just gave up at that point because like I was more into like I it was a weird time.
You're into
Um,
real punk.
yeah,
Like,
I know I was like the edgy part of my life where I thought I was a real punk, but I was actually just 15 or whatever,
yeah,
and just really needed to like all music and actually just shut up. But
yeah.
yeah, I digress on that.
That was when Boxcar Racer was big, and you were like, "I feel so bad, like, feel so empty." Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, so I gave up. So whatever, over 10 years now, we'll say, because I think I stopped listening to Green Day in like 2005.
yeah,
So a lot, long ass time. So this quarantine, I'm like, okay, let's listen to other things that's not like Blink 182 or Alkaline Trio or whatever,
yeah,
um, or Foo Fighters or stuff for the thousandth time. So I started listening to Green Day, and I'm like, okay, well, I know all these songs. They have an album that came out in 2020. How's that? Oh,
yeah,
it's not that great. And then I hated this album for like a while. And then I listened to, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start with 21st Century Breakdown and then work my way up just cause.
yeah, yeah.
And I found out that now I really like all of that.
Really?
I really like all like so I 21st Century Breakdown might be my favorite album by Green Day.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't hate it when it came out. I like that one song that everyone hated that was really popular.
Probably
Um,
21 Guns, I'm assuming.
yeah, yeah, 21
Yeah.
Guns.
I hated it because I was just like, this doesn't sound like Green Day. And
Yeah,
then that was, but it- it's like the whole, they don't sound like that's not Green Day or that's not Blink or that's, you could say that about every band. Like,
yeah,
that's not Metallica, blah, blah, blah. Like, I
yeah,
realized once I hit a specific, like a certain age, I think probably like 18, that like, yeah, they don't sound the same because they're older now. Like
yeah, yeah.
you want to evolve with your music. You don't want to sound like the same album for 30 years.
Yeah, that
So
makes me think of like Weezer. People always be like, "Oh,
it's not the Blue Album.
this sounds nothing like Weezer. This isn't their sound." That's why I stopped listening to them at the Blue album. And I'm like, that was their first album.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah,
know their sound yet.
exactly.
Like, so I'm like,
Weezer's never had like they change genre every album.
yeah, they're always different. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like they have a signature sound within that,
yeah,
but they do sound different every album. But
yeah.
I always thought it was really funny that they're like, that's why I stopped listening from their first album because they're not the Weezer I knew. And I'm like, they only put out one album. Like, how do you know what they were when they only have one album out?
Yeah,
Like,
that's like everyone who says they don't pass like Cheshire Cat for
yeah,
Blink
for
182
blank, yeah,
or like Buddha because they're pretty much the same album anyway. But
for real.
still, but yeah, it's like it you can love the first album. Like if you're hardcore, like you've been there the whole time or like forever, it's cool to like that one album, but like you're
I
not a
always,
loser for liking more than the one album.
yeah, I always thought it was funny when people like they're like, "Oh, you must be a new fan because you don't like their first album and you like their new stuff." Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Sorry, I like people who are clean and polished,
Yeah.
like musicians." Like when you listen to like, because I listened to like, I didn't listen to Cheshire Cat or Buddha first. I started, I don't know, like a loser, probably with the greatest hits or something, like in
I,
2003 or four. But I started like in the middle, like probably
yeah.
with all the small things was on Fuse or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that
Fuse
I think
TV.
I think that's kind of where I started
Yeah,
technically. My mom was always playing them, but like she had um the all the small things single on cassette. So it was just one like the A side was all the small things
yeah, yeah,
and the B side was M&M's. So that was like I was like, "Oh man, they have more than one song. This
yeah,
song's good
yeah,
too." And then I'm like, "All right, now I want to listen to Cheshire Cat." So that was my second album. Or actually, it might not have been my second album because my mom also owned Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and then we all got the Untitled album,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is my favorite album,
Oh,
by
that's
the way.
actually what I was thinking of. I started with like the Untitled album.
Yeah,
I just think of it as the greatest hits.
that is yeah. No, that's my favorite album
Yeah.
by Blink.
No, it is. So I started off with Untitled, and then I listened to like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and then I listened to man, the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. Is
Oh,
that
okay,
kind of
yeah.
the order?
That was before
Well,
I
no,
think.
that was the order I listened. I meant the Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Oh
Was
no,
that?
yeah, yeah, that's it's Mark Tom and Travis
Oh.
show. Yeah,
So then I listened to that, and then I listened to those like 3 plus greatest hits or whatever, and like their newer stuff for a long time. And then I was like, I should check out their old stuff. Like, and then I listened to Buddha. Buddha was first, right? Yeah. And I
yeah,
absolutely hated it. And I was like,
yeah.
they sound like garbage. His voice is like way high pitched. He like needs to, he didn't learn how to play guitar yet. And then I listened to Cheshire Cat, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Like they're not as good, but they're not as bad as Buddha. And then after I listened to Cheshire Cat and started liking that, I was like, oh, what song is it? I think, oh my gosh. There's one song on Buddha that's in the greatest hits album. It starts off with the bass line. It doesn't matter. But
Carousel.
yeah, I think it is Carousel, right?
Yeah, that's. I'm a little upset that you forgot that, but
I
that's fair.
know. I just forgot. I don't know. So because I wasn't sure if it was on the second album or the first, but
Yeah,
Carousel was on the Greatest Hits album, and I was like, "Wait, that's on the first album," and I really like that song. And I was like, maybe I should check out this first album again, and then I really liked it when I re-listened to everything. Like I like eased in from their like
that's fair.
suckiness,
Yeah,
like you did with Green Day.
I exactly. Yeah, but it's damn, what was I gonna say? I don't really like their Buddha album either, to be fair,
Yeah,
because
it took a lot
literally
of getting used.
it's a dirty version of Cheshire Cat is really
That's
what it is.
true. It's like they're just sloppy playing. They
Yeah,
recorded it on like a cassette thing, and
yeah.
like yeah,
And I'll still like we both have the same Blink tattoo, so like we're both clearly fans of Blink 182, but still.
actually mine is a
Oh, you
full,
no, mine has the Blink smiley and yours doesn't. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
mine is the full Angels and Airwaves one.
Yeah,
So.
so I forgot you're not a Blink fan.
Yeah, but I have the rabbit on my butt cheek, so.
True.
um, so yeah. So you listen to the Green Day album. Back to Green Day, and
Yeah.
we totally
So,
trailed, sorta.
and not to go on, I'm gonna go off on a slight tangent here. So I didn't realize when I listened to American Idiot for the first time that the entire album is one story from start to finish,
Yeah,
and like I always liked that whole album, but I went back and listened to it again, and I'm like, oh, this is actually a pretty good story, and I realized that's why they made it into like they wrote the whole album with the idea that it could be like
yeah.
acted out, and I was like, that's really cool because the songs are awesome and it's a pretty
Yeah,
interesting story.
even like the music videos too. They like
Yeah,
end at where the next song's music video begins and stuff.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
I don't.
I only remember because again, like talking about music and rock or anything, I always think of Fuse and VH1 and early MTV.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember them playing like Holiday and oh my gosh, isn't what's the track before Holiday?
Uh,
Eh.
I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I think is after Holiday.
Yeah, well, no, actually, you're right because I remember they played them back to back,
Yeah.
and it like goes from like the high energy of Holiday, and they're in the beginning of I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams. They're in the same car, and they like drive up and park somewhere or whatever, and like
Hmm.
some stuff happens, and then the song starts. And like VH1 happened to play, or Fuse happened to play them back to back, where I saw like them driving and then the beginning of the next one where they like stop the car and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like continuing. Like and then it wasn't until YouTube was invented, I don't know, or YouTube got really popular that I was able to watch them all like together, like I don't know, some odd years later. But yeah, no, it is really interesting and I always love that concept and idea.
Yeah. No, it's really excuse me. It's pretty interesting. And then so I'll admit I feel like it's kind of not a cop out, but like they worked on the success of American Idiot and then just kind of did the same thing in the next album where that tells the story. It's not
What was
that
the next
like
album? Was that
21st Century
it
Breakdown is
was, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That one. So it's still again. I love the album. It's a great album. They kind of did the same thing there, but
Yeah, yeah.
I've noticed there's just like I don't know. There's something about that album. It's just interesting. Not specifically that one popular song, but there's like
Yeah. I remember liking some of the album, but it wasn't cool to like it, so I
exactly.
don't
Yeah, that's what happens when you're a teenager and you
but it was like,
yeah
"Oh, this is
you get
pretty
made fun
good,"
of
and
for liking
everybody was like, "No, it's not. It sucks." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I was just kidding."
it.
And then I went home and cried. No,
I suggest when you have time to like try and
to
listen to that
re-listen.
'cause it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
I
But
did try when they released the three-part albums, like, very closely together, like Uno, Dos,
yeah,
Tres. I did try them, and I didn't like them too much. I just felt like I don't
only
know, they weren't bad, and they weren't bad, but they didn't have any, like, "Wow, this is a really good track," or, like, any good, like, "Whoa, this is gonna be a new top song," or something, right?
uh, no, yeah, I kind of feel I think there are pieces of each of those albums that make one really good album.
Yeah.
Because they I think the concept was, and I don't quote me here because I could be completely wrong. I think each of them pretty much just wrote or they wrote in specific styles for each or something like that. Because it's Uno, Dos, and then Trey because the drummer's Trey, and
Oh,
it's
I
really
didn't
good
realize
fun.
that.
Yeah, um, but yeah, so they did the 3 albums that came out pretty much at the same time.
Yeah,
But,
it was, like, months apart,
yeah,
but each
but
one had a different, front man on the album cover.
yeah, um, but there's some really like I think honestly Uno's the one that I can listen to start to finish and enjoy it all.
Yeah,
But there's the other 2 is just like me. There's like 1 or 2 off of those that I'll
yeah, I'll definitely and then their last album, you liked a lot, or you now
this
you like it a
so
lot.
there's 2 more from there.
2
So there's
more?
yeah, they made a lot of albums since we listened. So there's Revolution Radio, which is actually really good.
Oh, yeah, I did know about Revolution Radio, yeah.
Yeah. So that was another one. And there's a few I honestly again I can listen to the whole album, but there's like a few really good ones on there.
Yeah,
But so the newest one is I think it's censored everywhere. It's
yeah.
called Father of All, but
Yeah,
it's
I've never seen I just looked it up, and I've only seen it as Father of All.
yeah, it's it's Father of All Motherfuckers, which I like that. But
Yeah.
um yeah, it's Father of All. It's incredibly poppy.
Oh, is
Like
it?
and not even the Spanish kind, not the good the good
Poppy.
kind.
Uh,
No, it's not bad. It's definitely like it's completely different than anything they've ever done before. And
yeah.
I think hold on. I have to Google this before I, cite something incorrectly.
I
Hold
could
on.
off topic while you're looking that up, I did Google their albums in order. I can't believe those Uno Dos Tres albums were in 2012. Like, that's crazy. And 21st
Yeah.
Century Breakdown was in 2009. Like, wow. We're semi old.
Yeah.
We're not old enough yet to say we're old, but we're old. Wow, that's crazy. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yes. And this is kind of going into my next point, I guess. So 2012, and I think everyone who's like pretty much watched TV and seen anything related to music has seen this, but so there was like that um it was like MTV or something like that where the Green Day was playing and then Billy Joe just kind of just got really pissed. Do you remember that? Like
No, I don't.
so it was like the music awards or something where Green Day was playing Basket Case and they specifically they had a timer for how long they could be on stage before I think Usher was up next or something like that. So they gave them like a minute and a half to play Basket Case
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah,
Billy Joe
yeah.
was just like he stopped the
And
show
and
and was
they
just like,
basically went over the minute,
"Oh, you're
right?
yeah." They didn't go over the minute. He was like, "You're only giving us a minute, and we've been around longer than like all these people like
Yeah,
playing. Like it was kind of douchey. I'll always admit that. Like it was kind of a weird thing, but um, and then he like smashed his guitar, like started cursing them out, and yeah, whatever. So I always that's kind of what turned me off from Green Day is just like, okay, you kind of threw a diva fit up on stage
yeah.
there,
But I kind of
but
get that too because they're like
yeah,
music is dead.
yeah, yeah. And this was I think 20. It was the iHeartRadio Music Festival to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
specific. So and turns out he was actually going through some addiction stuff, and the next day he's like, oh, I don't like how I acted, so I'm gonna get sober. So he's been sober since 2012, which is awesome.
oh
um
wow.
yeah, because he's been like, if you even if you see like old Green Day like music videos or
Yeah,
like even
yeah,
concerts, like you can tell he's like on something when they're recording.
yeah, yeah,
um but yeah, so he's been sober since 2012, which I think that's what kind of just sparked the change in music
yeah,
genre,
yeah. That
because
makes
everything's
sense.
a little bit different. And I kind of like get it, and I guess they're trying to just try something different for this album. I'm all
Yeah,
for it. It's completely different, and it took a while for me to like really like anything on it, but
yeah. And
yeah,
I think a lot of it is because like yeah, music is for fans and stuff. Like you want fans.
yeah,
Music or anything you do, like even this podcast. You want fans. Like you want people to listen, you want people to enjoy what you do. But at the end of the day, it's for you, you know. Like we started this podcast because we enjoy it and we enjoy doing it. And
yeah,
if we can get people to enjoy it too, that's amazing. But when we hit a point where we don't like this, this is bad for us, bad for our emotions, you know, which a lot of people hit. Um, you want to do what's best for yourself, you know. Even when with like work wise, like when I was working, somebody was like, I understand. Like the number one company you work for is yourself. Like you should always take care of that before you take care of
yeah,
any other corporation.
exactly, yeah.
You
And it's
know.
going back to like every other band or every other like creator or whatever. Like you you can't do the same thing over and over and over again and expect the same results. Like if Green Day made another Dookie, or like Metallica made another, you know,
Uh-huh.
that came
It's
out
just
great.
if
Yeah,
Green Day made
they
another.
made it because that was their hit. Like that's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
number one they're known for.
You
That
can't
and American Idiot, but
you can and can't win because all the time someone's gonna not enjoy it.
yeah,
You know, like you, if you were to keep the same sound, everybody's gonna be like, you didn't evolve, you stood the same. It sounds
yep,
just like the last one. But if you do evolve, someone's gonna be like, oh, this is so different. Like,
yeah.
you
You're a
know, and then
sellout because you decided to write an evolved form of music,
yeah, yeah,
or not evolved, but like you decided to try something new, so you're a sellout.
yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to think who it was. I feel like it's something Dave Grohl would say, but I don't remember who it is. But
You gotta
one
fight all your foo like 1,000 Dave Grohls.
yeah, he said that himself.
Yeah,
No, there was a music artist that was talking, and they were like, you know, what's one thing you like knew, wish you knew? And they were like, you know, your most popular album is going to be your most hated album first, and then
yeah.
and then it's going to be appreciated like 10 years down the line. Like everyone's going to love your new album when it becomes the old album.
That's actually I didn't realize that's where that was going, but I agree with that.
Yeah, so they're like, you know, your best albums as you release them are always going to be hated. They say like, or he
Yeah.
said, and they were like, you know, it's not they're not going to like it until it's the old album and you have something new,
Yep.
and then they're going to hate that album and like your last album, like. And there's a whole bunch of artists who always say that, who are like, yeah, you know, I like Weezer hates oh my gosh, that one album they had.
The Blue Album.
No, no, no. They hate
Just name
Pinkerton.
a color. Oh,
Yeah,
the
because Pinkerton ended up being one of their most people always go back to Pinkerton or the Blue Album. You know, people are always like, "Oh, Pinkerton is where they were best at." But when they came out with Pinkerton, like I don't know, whatever music website was out at that time, like was like, oh, is this the worst album yet? Did they forget how to write music? Like, they suck now. Like, and they got like 1 out of 10. Like, and then like 2 years later, everyone was like, that was their best album. Like,
I'm trying to remember what songs were on Pinkerton.
oh, I don't remember any. No, sorry, Weezer. I like your new stuff though. Oh, they have a. Is that a new album? A new album? They've been putting out. They also Weezer's also put out albums like every year or two. Like it's crazy, like how they always put up like the Killers put out an album like every 6 years, and
Yeah.
like Weezer does like literally like every year or two. But again, it's art. I know people who could paint all year round and like never stop painting and drawing, and then there's people like me that I can draw 2 months out of the year. No, I
Yeah.
can only art for a few months out of the year, so I need to get it all done when I'm in that art mood.
What's your favorite Weezer song?
I don't know. I don't have favorites of anything. Like it's really hard for me to choose favorites of stuff because I really like a lot. Like I can't really narrow it down because like I can go from like My Name Is Jonas, like Blue Album, but then like I honestly everyone hates Beverly Hills, but I really liked Beverly Hills.
I hate that song. And
See?
I only hate that song because of the like the backup in the chorus.
Beverly Hills. Oh, the like
Yeah, yeah,
I like
exactly.
that.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I remember when Pork and Beans came out.
That's a good
Like,
song.
yeah, like I always felt like, and this is I don't know if this is me or everyone else, but like I always felt like at least for me, whatever's the newest and freshest is always going to be like my favorite sort of. I can always go back to stuff, but it's really hard for me to be like this one song is my favorite thing this person has ever made
Yeah,
because I'm like I like so much. I'm easy
yeah,
to please. Maybe I don't know.
that's fair.
Like
I,
I like them all. I like things differently. Except tacos is my favorite food, without a doubt. No questions. I could choose a favorite. No, I don't know.
there's
Even
not
that.
really new food invented daily, so I feel that.
No, no art especially like even like and it's I guess I'm weird. I don't know, but like whenever we talk about TV shows, like Ashley's like, "Oh, who's your favorite character?" And I'm like, "Well, the main one, because that's who they want me to like." Like that's who we see the most.
That's yeah. I that's
Like
hard to argue with,
the
honestly. Like
show
I
is
want,
tailored for for you to like that person. Like,
yeah, but then there's like that whole thing where like, so they do and we always circle back to Harry Potter somehow. But
yeah, yeah.
if you like, the book does a way better job of explaining it, but Harry's kind of an asshole.
I do get that, but
And obviously we all like Harry Potter because that's the name of the series, but like he is kind of an asshole.
is he? I
um
thought his dad was an asshole, or
his
maybe it's
dad
because
was
of the
an
book,
asshole too,
or
but like
maybe it's
he
because of the
also is,
book.
he's kind of also not spoiled. He's there, I don't know.
Oh yeah, so
There's
spoiled
something
living under those stairs.
that was once. That was only one time.
Oh, only one time he had to.
Yeah. It was only the first 11 years of his life.
For real. No, I get what you're saying though. Like they were like his dad was like, "Here's a magic cape that the
Yeah.
Grand Wizards invented that makes you invisible."
Yeah.
Like,
Like he had a hard life, but then he became a wizard, and I feel like everything was kind of handed to him.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the best wand ever. No, I get it, but
Yeah.
still though, like at least from the movies, I'm like, meh, he's my favorite. I see him the most. He like has the most character progression. He's the like
I don't know. I'll argue with that one because Snape is my favorite character out of the whole
I
series.
don't know. What do you mean he's an asshole?
He is not an asshole.
He's a mixed asshole.
No, he is a double agent, and he's been protecting Harry for his entire life
He's also very rude to Harry.
because he can't make it seem like he's protecting him.
I guess, but still, it's only because
He
he has his mother's eyes. What?
which is
What's
weird
with
because
the silence?
no, I was just scratching, but um,
But yeah,
yeah.
no, I don't know. I like Harry. He's
No,
the
I don't hate him. I'm not saying I hate him, but he's kind of an asshole.
yeah, but everyone's an asshole at some point.
True. I was definitely an asshole.
Yeah.
Speaking of assholes, Megan actually hates Green Day because she thinks that Billy Joe is an asshole.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I was trying to think of who. Oh, you know who came out with a new rock album? This is sort of on topic. You know who Machine Gun Kelly is?
Yes.
Crap. Um, so he's like that rapper guy, and he's kind of an asshole. And he
Yeah.
just came out with a pop punk album.
Yeah.
And
I was kind of. I'm not. I haven't listened to it, but I know
it's
he's
I
been working on
honestly
it with.
really enjoyed it.
Really. I
It's
don't. I
really
don't doubt it. I heard it's pretty good, and usually things that Travis Barker works on are
are
pretty
really
good.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was really good. I really and when I listened to it, Ashley was like, "Why? He's an asshole." Like she immediately was like, "I don't want to listen to that. He's an asshole." Like, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like I don't know enough about him to say that." Like, but it was really good. I definitely like. The only thing is, it's like I don't know. I think it's like 8 tracks. It's really short. It's like it was. I very much enjoyed it, but I only listened to it like 2 or 3 times, like
So
fully.
is it just like an original pop
Yeah,
punk
yeah.
album, or is it covers?
No, it's original. He wrote it all.
Hmm.
It's good. It was a really good album, but at the same time, I listened to it like 3 4 times, and then I was like, "Wow, glad I listened to that." What's next? Like, it wasn't like I'm definitely gonna save this and listen to this again and do like,
That's kind of what happened to me with uh Logic's album, the one that just
oh
came
yeah,
out.
yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his old stuff though.
I
Everyone
didn't listen to the old stuff. I got sent to this album because of the intro song.
yeah, because of
And
the snake thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I always listen to. He has a few really bad albums. Like he, honestly, I think it's because the producer on the last album, he like I don't know, broke up with him or stopped doing songs with him. And the songs without that producer are actually not good. Like the last like 2 albums were really bad. 2 or 3 albums were like not good at all. Um, so I don't know. I don't know about that, but he has his first like few albums are really really good, and he has like some good albums. I'm trying to see. That was No Pressure was really good.
yeah. I definitely like it. It's just like after a while, it was like, all right, I can go on with life.
Yeah, yeah. I really like The Incredible True Story. That was a really good album. Like there's a few. Bobby Tarantino was good, but I think you would like. I would go with Incredible True Story. That's what I would be like. You want to really like an album that you wouldn't expect to like? That's not. It's that
All
one.
right, I'm gonna tackle that next then.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be like, "Yo, that album was the worst album I ever listened to in my entire life. Why
Yeah,
would you recommend that to me?" Like, but yeah, yeah. Did you know? Back to Green Day. Did you know what year was this? This is 2020. I feel like this wasn't this year. Um, there was a band that made a fake Green Day album like last year.
really?
Yeah, it was called Magnum Opus of the Inglorious Kind.
That's weird.
And they literally he used his voice, like he sang parts, and then took parts of like live shows of like Billy Joe's voice, like saying things or like talking, like brief interludes. They took like cuts from other Green Day albums and like changed the effects on them. So it really sounds like Billy Joel singing. Like, and then they literally played like they like practice all their playing styles and wrote like a whole album. And then the album art is like their face, like it's the Green Day face. They released it on YouTube, like leaked Green Day album or something. And they released it like, and they printed like a vinyl of it. Like they did mad stuff to make it look like Green Day's
That's
album
so. Did they
Weezer.
just get the? Did they get the crap suit out of them, or like what happened with that?
I don't know. I think it wasn't like they were making money or something. I didn't really look at the whole thing, but they released it as a regular album though for themselves
Hmm.
because they wrote the music. It was all new songs. But they didn't like post on like Spotify. They
That just
posted
sounds
on
like.
Green Day.
Do
I
you
mean, on
remember
Green Day on
the
YouTube.
days of LimeWire and stuff where
Yes.
you would just like type in Blink 182 or like Rancid or something, and then you just get like some random song that doesn't have anything to do with them, but like
Yes.
people just tagged
Yeah,
every
I
band in their
remember
genre.
that. Yeah, I
I
also remember having like clips of radio hosts in the beginning of and end of songs that I literally got used to those parts being in songs. Like I still remember at the end of "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer, it was like "Bow, now, now, now," and I was like, "Welcome to the radio show with the best one ever in the world." Like, and then it
love
went
it.
to the next song, and I literally got used to that being in the song. That when I like got real music with like Spotify and stuff that I was like, oh, wait, it's not in the song. Like, so yeah, it is like that. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so they literally like released a whole fake album with like Green Day's faces on it and everything, but only on YouTube and as like low quality like leaked footage. And then they took like clips from like random like studio sessions of Green Day and like interweaved it into the video so it really looks like Green Day like made the album.
that's interesting.
And people really loved it. And then they recently released it as their own like they took all the Green Day stuff out. Like and it still sounds like Green Day. Like they kept the sound, like all the stuff, but they released like the picture no longer has Billy Joel's face like photoshopped on it. And like it doesn't say Green Day and it doesn't say any like they released it like, oh, this is our album now. Like but
Yeah,
they like got semi famous from that. Like
that's really crazy. Like that it worked out that way.
yeah. And they didn't get sued.
Yeah. Uh,
Like
so it it's kind of a flip flop of that story.
uh-huh.
So in 2003, and found this out a while ago, kind of when I was just like starting to listen to Green Day again. And I never even noticed this because it just kind of like came and went in like the blink of an eye.
Uh-huh.
In 2003, um, so I don't know if you so before American Idiot, there was like a new album they were working on where it was like almost done or something like that, and they like took a break or like left the studio and they came back and all of their like recording stuff was like gone for the demos of that album. So they just like were like, fuck it, we went too far, like we're not re-recording these songs. So there's like they just kind of like took a break for a while.
Who,
And
Green
in
Day? That was
yeah,
Green Day?
yeah, Green Day. So
Uh-huh.
in the midst of that, they a random band called The Network showed up like and kind of just like did gigs and stuff. And it was four people.
Uh-huh.
Everyone was wearing masks. Like really crazy like outfit like
Yeah, yeah.
it's honestly kind of creepy to look at. It's not like Slipknot level, it's just like
What was it called?
The Network.
Uh-huh.
Um and it was literally just Green Day, but they didn't say that they were Green Day. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't tell people, but it sounded exactly like Green Day. And they
Oh,
had like one or two albums that's like kind of it's not the same genre at all. It's kind of like this weird pop.
yeah, that's
Uh,
really weird.
yeah, and so they just did that for a while, and they were like on their during their shows they would be like, "Yeah, Green Day sucks" and stuff like that. Like it's
No.
really weird. But
That's really
they would completely would ignore the fact that they were in the band. Like they don't talk about it at all.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's the weirdest
Even on
thing.
their wiki, it doesn't say it's them.
Yeah, it's so weird. But that it's kind of like the opposite of what you were just saying. Like
I know, they were pretending not to be them and someone else.
exactly. It's like they just so they had a fourth person, so like another guitarist, like a rhythm
Yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
and that's one of their friends that they then when they went back to Green Day and started doing American Idiot, they have that guy playing with them in their live shows and stuff. So like
Ah,
if
yeah,
you've
yeah,
ever seen his if you've ever seen like a fourth guy, like I think he's in the 21 Guns music video. Um,
yeah. So that was before American Idiot?
yeah, because
Wow.
it was the album before was supposed to be Cigarettes and Valentines.
Yeah, yeah.
and then that like their um demos just got like stolen from the studio.
Wow. So were they actually stolen or were they not?
From what they've said, they were like stolen from the
Oh yeah,
studio,
they didn't
like
like
actual.
make that album with the network or something.
No, yeah, no.
Or,
Like apparently, like one or two songs were then like rewritten for like Uno Dos Tre, but
oh yeah, yeah. They like rewrote those old songs, but
yeah,
they never actually used them for anything.
yeah,
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
yeah. It's it's a pretty interesting like story,
Yeah,
and
you
that's
know what's funny? There's been a few bands that have done stuff like that. Like, have you ever heard of the sound of animals fighting? No.
yes,
Oh,
actually,
I was like,
yes. Why
silence.
does that? I
It's not as loud as that before though. It's a super group technically. I didn't know that. I didn't remember them being a super group. But it's the lead singer. You know, did we didn't watch Circus Survive together, right?
no, I don't
Yeah.
listen to them.
Oh, they're great. So it's the lead singer of Circus Survive, and then I don't remember what parts, but it's like someone from RX Bandits and two other bands I didn't really listen to. Chiodos. What was I'm trying to think of Circus Survive's first. Oh, have you ever listened to Seosin?
Nope.
Oh, all these bands. Seosin was the guy from Circus Survive, and it's so fun. Oh, Anthony Green. Anthony Green is the lead singer of Circus Survive. He was in the band Seosin first, and then he sang a little deeper, not much deeper, but then he had like an accident or something that like caved in his chest or something crazy.
Nice.
Or it was like drugs. I think it might have been drugs.
Those are vastly different.
You know, the two sides of the spectrum.
One's kind of a tragedy, and the other one's just kind of like you did it to yourself.
Still a tragedy. I think it was drugs because a lot of the Circus Survive albums are like subliminally about recovering from drugs, not about drugs, like
Yeah.
about after effects and so you know, like
Mhm.
I don't know. Anyway, so he was in Seosin and his after whatever happened and everything happened, he went to Circus Survive and his he had like something happen to him where his voice is really, really high pitched. Like it kind of sounds, especially in their earlier albums, it sounds like a woman. Like I
Kind of
remember,
like yeah. Oh man, what's the name of that song? The Silver Sun Pickups.
yes,
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
It's I swear to you, I almost crapped my pants when I found out that was a man.
You know what's funny? With I remember listening to Circus Survive in like grammar school or something, and thinking like, "Yo, this girl's probably really pretty." And then there wasn't really YouTube really. So then finally, like when they released a music video or something, I saw him singing, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was expecting like Paramore, like whatever, like a female lead singer with whatever. And then when I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a dude. Like,
That's yeah.
so yeah, Silver Skin Pickups. I heard other songs first, and like he sounds like a dude in some of the other songs. Um,
Yeah.
totally off topic, but
I
yeah, but
mean, this is just a music
yeah,
episode, so
yeah, it is. But the Sound of Animals Fighting is like a super group, but they kind of did the same thing. What? What?
sorry, I was just making sounds of animals fighting.
Oh, like, um, I didn't know what the heck you were making. What sound that was?
Sorry.
I
It I
thought someone came in and murdered you or something. But it's like a super group, but they also wore masks all the time. They wore animal masks and didn't tell people who they were. I mean, the only drawback, I mean, just like Green Day, the only drawback is Anthony Green has like a super distinctive voice and sounds
Yep.
like kind of like a girl. Like, so like once this guy came on stage and was like, "Hey, everybody!" like or whatever, like they were like, "Oh, is that Anthony Green?" Like, whoa! Like, so yeah. I also saw. I guess we're keeping on music forever. Frankie Arrow's band. I think it was he keeps changing the name, but after My Chemical Romance and stuff, he did Frankie Arrow and the Future Violence, and then he changed the name to something else. Um, Frankie Arrow and the Parachutes or something. I don't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
No.
Oh, really? So he started a few other bands, or he started one band and kept changing the name of the band. Um, so when he, I don't think he first left. When he first started this other band, he was doing tours as, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of, how am I forgetting this name? It was like a classic rock band. Give me a classic rock band in the same vein of Journey.
In the same vein of Journey?
Yeah, the band Journey, right? That's the
Oh,
band.
yeah, no, like I don't know, because I feel like if I choose the wrong thing, I'm gonna get like
Not Guns N'
smacked.
Roses.
Because like Journey's pretty distinct.
No, just that year, that general year.
A general year.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
we'll say Van Halen. I don't know.
No, but you're close. I'm trying to think of the name.
What do you mean the same year? Journey made several albums over the course of different
I
years.
mean, like that decade of bands, like that type of band, like that, like rock band. I'll just Google old rock band.
Okay. Um, I'm hold on. Before I
Aerosmith. Got it already.
thank you.
So he was touring with his band as.
Also, I just want to let you know that Journey and Van Halen were the like 1 year apart. So eat
I
shit.
said close names. It's close. That decade I meant.
72 and 73 were very close to each other.
I just meant not like 2001. Like classic rock band is what I
I
should have just said. Give me classic rock band
then why did you say no when I said Van Halen?
because it wasn't them. I was trying to get a specific Aerosmith. I was trying to. I forgot the name Aerosmith. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. You wanted me to just keep going. I thought you were using an example.
No, no. I was trying to get the name Aerosmith. I was
Okay.
wanting you to keep guessing because I honestly totally forgot that name.
That's
So,
okay.
but
Now I
he was.
understand what you were asking for,
Oh
and now
yeah.
I understand the error of my ways.
He was touring of the out of with the name Aerosmith and like a cocaine thing and blood dripping down.
Nice.
Like that was their logo. Um, and literally he was just randomly at shows playing his music. Like, and one of the times I went to see Circus Survive, he was just randomly there, and they were like, "Today's opener is Aerosmith," and we were like, "Who the hell is Aerosmith? Is this like an Aerosmith cover band?" And he just came and started playing music, and we were like, "Who is this dude?" And Ashley was like, "He looks really familiar though." And then she was just like, "Oh my god, is that Frankie Arrow?" Like, and she was like, "Oh my god, it is!" Like, holy crap! And then like we appreciated it. And then, but literally, they were just touring some random name, like didn't tell anybody they were touring, like, and yeah, and we watched them somehow. And until they got an official band name, which was on the Future Violence or something. should I should I tell my funny story?
Go for it.
It's so unrelated to the rest of the episode though. But I was just talking about it and it was really really funny and I was like I need to tell Joe this. Cuz I don't know if I have. But back in college,
Okay.
I was in this art history class, right? And yo, art teachers are crazy. Maybe I think it was just college. In high school, my art teachers were nice for the most part, but in college, it was like you got really nice art teachers who were like I don't know, super artistic, not yeah. Um, or you got like really crazy art teachers that just had no brain. And this story is about a crazy art teacher with no brain. Miss McGilligan. No, I just made that. I didn't name
Oh,
it. That's
thank
from.
you. I'm like, why would you do that?
No, no, that's a random name. I honestly do not remember her name whatsoever, but she was a crazy old lady, and she was an art history teacher.
Like crazy, like she probably took too much drugs in the 70s
Yeah, I
slash
think.
60s,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah. She was. Yeah, like probably took too much drugs.
Yeah, I had that in high school when I moved, and that
Yeah.
was I couldn't stand it. Like, yeah, continue. Sorry.
Like crazy, and like you can't gauge what they want no matter what. Like one week they're like, I want this, and then next week you give them that and they're like, why would you give me this? Like, so so she was my art history teacher, and honestly, I love art history. I hate art history classes. Like, I suck at history in general. Like names, places, oh my gosh, get that out of here. I'm horrible at names and places, and I feel like that's 90% of what history is. um so we had to every quarterly, not semester, every quarter, we had to go to a museum and take a bunch of photos of the artwork and then write, basically like write a summary of what they say about the piece in the museum and then talk about it like our interpretation. And it was always, she would give us a list of 30 artworks, which is crazy.
Yep. Yep.
Right, which is one of the crazy things. So every semester she would choose or I think she would give us like two or three museums, and we had to do that. And every semester I did not, and she was like, I need a ticket or a picture of you outside the museum. So the first semester, I mean, first quarter, I definitely did not go. I was like, nope. I totally forgot about it. Didn't go. And then I, I found a picture on Google Images of, and I did this all the time.
I
I
know where
found,
this is going. I know.
I
Continue.
found a Google Images picture of the museum, and I went deep. I went like page 23, so she can't find it specifically. And I found a picture of the museum, and then I took a picture of my steps of the front of my house. I blurred both a bit, and I took a picture of me, and I photoshopped myself in front of the
Yep.
museum, like
I,
holding a sign or something.
I knew it.
Right? And then I went on the museum website and I mixed my notes from class because we talked about the pieces and just copy and pasted what was on the museum website. Even then, I only did 18 of the 30 because I remembered so last minute. So I handed in 18 out of 30, whatever this long, it was like 8 pages. And then she gave it back to me and she was like, wow, I'm really disappointed. 75. And I was like, ooh, damn. No, I think it was, yeah, it was like 75 or 80. We'll just say 75. And I was like, damn, wow. So then the second semester or second quarter, I was like,
What
man,
was she disappointed about? The fact that you only did half, or the fact that you photoshopped it?
oh no, she had no clue I photoshopped it.
Okay, I figured,
I
but
oh, I 100% got away with that. I was so good at it too. At photoshopping myself and lying. No, I literally she had us printed out. So like to make up for it, I always made sure to print it out in black and white because it really like fixes any inconsistencies and blurriness and whatever and color match. Like I didn't have to color match or do all this stuff. I just printed the picture in black and white, and it's a blurry picture of me at the
nice.
museum. Like it was obvious it was me and it was obvious the museum, but the picture was otherwise kind of blurry. Um, so that was fine. She was just like, "Yo, you didn't even do all 30. Like what you wrote was good. Like I wish you wrote more. Whatever." So in second semester, I did the second quarter. I did the same exact thing. I think I did no. I think I did less. I did like I don't know 11 out of 30 because I just forgot and I literally did it that morning and I did the same thing. And she was like, "Oh, you know, this is really bad." Gave me a 60. And I was like, that's not bad. Whatever.
I'll take it. It's fine.
So third quarter, I was like, I really need to shape up. So I went, I made a trip of it. I went to the museum. I took notes. I took good pictures. I brought my literally my camera to the museum. I did all 30. I wrote what they wrote and wrote my own stuff. And I did mad stuff for the teacher. I took a picture, you know, did whatever. The first time I didn't have to Photoshop it. I gave it in. And then the teacher's like, this is horrible, and gives me a 45. And then she's like, on a bunch of the pieces, she's like, did you even research? This is wrong. And I confronted her. I was like, that was straight from the museum. Like, I got it from the podium at the museum. And she was like, oh, well, the museum's wrong. Weren't you paying attention in class? I said something different. And I was like,
Then
But the museum, and she was like, "Yeah, museums can be wrong. You're just gonna trust everything a museum tells you." And I was like, "Over you?" Like, like, kinda, like, yeah, I'll kinda trust the museum, like, like, and it was one of the things, like, in class, and this is, like, a joke amongst, like, artists, sort of, is whenever you see something, like, saggy, like, this one was a glove, like, it was a garden and, like, a yellow garden glove, and it was, like, droopy or something, and she's like, "You know, that goes to show that he" man, how do I say this? He can't get it up. I'm forgetting the word, the official niceness for it. Um, do you know what I'm talking about?
Erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, he suffers from erectile dysfunction. And they were like, you know, so this painting method, and this is my teacher, this painting method is showing that, you know, his dysfunction of his wee wee. True words, exactly word for word what my art teacher said.
Oh my.
um, and then the museum was like, oh, you know, he was actually going through a rough time in his life, and he was really depressed at this point, you know. So this was showing his state of mind, like he felt like it was like melting or something. Like the museum said something totally different, and she was like, "Well, the museum's wrong. I know more than the museum." And
Honestly, I especially it,
like it's not the
but like
internet, it's not wiki, it's literally the museum
it's the
that holds the
museum.
painting.
Yeah,
Like they have the physical painting there,
but
and you're telling me
also
some teacher from a community college,
yeah.
like
I even if it was like even if it wasn't like that, it's the fact that like I think it's a little bit more believable that it signified like the state of mind or just like him being I guess depressed versus him just like having a floppy, pee pee.
yeah, yeah. No, you know what's funny? And they always say this. Like, if you look it up, like they always say art. That's like art teacher, like go to like 101. Like art teachers always are talking like, oh, this is like they say the same thing. You know, Salvador Dali,
Yeah.
like most famous painter in the
Yeah,
world.
that once you said like the droopy glove, I was actually
That's who
just
you were
thinking,
thinking.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they say all his pieces, all his droopy melty pieces, are because he had a floppy wiener. Like
I'd never heard that. That that's weird.
yeah, like that's what they say about his pieces too in Art Teacher 101. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember what's true. Probably not that. Maybe it is. But he was another case. Like in literally every class, we were like everybody who would like I guess talk in a group chat or something would always be like, how much you want to bet she's gonna talk about like an artist like
Yep.
having erectile dysfunction today. Like anything droops, bad wiener. Getting that on a t-shirt. No.
I mean, not to get too into it, but when you're depressed, most
That is
artists were just like most really great artists were just really depressed people. So maybe that kind of makes sense, I guess. You just
well,
can't because if you're depressed, sometimes it just doesn't work
that's true. Hand in hand, it's both.
hand in hand. Oh,
Um, yeah, and then the last quarter, I literally did like nothing. I did like seven, and
nice.
like, wrote crap, and then did mad stuff. I didn't even Photoshop myself, and I got a 70.
Like, you know what, Marcus, I give up on you.
Literally, like I was like, yo, I tried so hard last quarter. I know I'm gonna pass this class. Like, whatever, I don't care. And then she gave me a 70, and I was like, yo, I only did like seven. Like I was like, yo, you should have gave me like a 30. Like, but literally, she gave me like a 70, and then like whatever. And I was so happy to be out of that class because she was mad crazy. Like there was mad stories of her being crazy all the time.
Yeah, it's I another reason I just didn't like art school. I feel
Yeah,
like the teacher's always like really like specific on what they want you to do, and sometimes the assignments are just like overbearing.
yeah. And you draw naked people a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care about the naked people. I didn't really get that far though, but
It was awkward at first.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's so subjective that it's really hard,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
That's
granted,
why I didn't
like
like it. It's like I'm happy to learn about it or whatever, or improve my technique, but like if I perceive something one way and you perceive it another way, and you
yeah,
think you're right, but like that's the point of art is like all perception based.
yeah,
So
I
why?
mean, I did have some really like, my painting teacher, um, I had the same teacher for, like, all 3 years for oil painting, and she was great. Like, she was really, really good at separating, like, skill and, like I guess, technique against, like, style, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, she would be like, "Oh, not this is a bad piece, but this is what's wrong with it." Like, this isn't a technique. This is like you not knowing how shapes work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she'd
Yeah.
be like, "No, you followed that form wrong. That's not an art style. You just didn't draw it right." Like, and she was very good at distinguishing that. Like, but I find you don't see a lot of people that are like that. I feel like in high school it was very much like, "Nope, you don't know how to draw." Like, like it's very hard to separate like your personal preference for talent or something.
Yeah.
Talent or something. Like for example, this podcast is really good and not bad.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's not personal preference. That's just skill
that's
and talent.
that was straight facts.
That was a straight fact. And you know what else is a straight fact? Do you? Do you know?
Um, what's a straight
See if
fact?
you can get this. You don't have any guesses? The straight fact of the day is that this podcast is over. Go home. The podcast is over, everyone. Like, go listen to our old podcast. Listen to an old episode. Check out episode 1, where
Yeah.
we talk about
Yeah.
things. I don't
If
know
this
what we talk about because once we record, it leaves my brain forever. But I'm sure it was great and interesting, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and that was before we had a better format, so maybe let us know if you like that better. Maybe not. We'll
We
know.
had a format.
Yeah.
We have a format.
Yeah, we just
We just talked about music for an
yeah,
hour.
I think that's a pretty good format.
The
We
format.
we go on a lot less tangents now. I don't know if you've noticed that,
No,
but
but I like tangents.
same. Very
We'll
sweet.
work on it. More tangents
Tangerines.
in the
Yeah.
future.
All right. Yeah, I'll
Tangents,
note that now.
tangents are my favorite fruit.
I just said that.
Did you say that?
Yes.
No, you did not.
Yes,
I
I did.
did not
Okay.
get that at all.
We've hit that point where everything just got horrible.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Disaster Project. Tune in next week, or actually, yeah, no, next week on Monday, where we talk about stuff. Nothing is planned yet. Things. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Goodbye.